All right, here at Whirlwind Family Farm, I got to show you something today. A little bit different than something we normally would look at in the farm. You can see Whirlwind Farm behind me. I'm here at our house, at the farmhouse where we live, and I'm going to start speaking quietly because you got to check this out. As I get closer to it, we'll see if they're there because I don't want to scare them away. No, they're not there. Oh, yeah, there they go. If you can see that, there's a male and female, but as you can see, what in the world is that right there? See if we can zoom in for you. And you can see that mud and everything up there. This is a shutter. It's a little pretend shutter on our house. It doesn't actually close. It's just part of the look of the house when they built it. So what you're looking at right there is the nest of a barn swallow. And I got to tell you, most of my life I saw barn swallows. I always thought, well, these are just a mess on the side of your home or your barn, wherever they built. These little mud nests, they're just a mess, is what I always thought. Well, a few days ago, and I'm, I hate to admit this, at my age, I finally did a little research on the barn swallow. And they're really, oh, there's probably the mom. She's wanting to go back to her nest. So we're not going to try to bother her as little as possible. I finally did some research on the barn swallow, and they are incredible. Yes, they make a mess, and they do build on the side of structures. They like to build on the side of man-made structures, which is amazing because someone said in the reading that I started reading up about the barn swallow is that when people started coming to North America over 200 years ago, they would see them on the edge of rocks and cliffs and natural things. And these birds have adapted. They have literally, most of the time, they'll build under maybe a overpass on a interstate. They'll build under those. They like to build on the side of barns and houses, thus the name, the barn swallow. But that's just the beginning of their story. Is that the more I started reading about them, they're on virtually every continent on Earth, which is absolutely amazing. And they migrate, whether it's out of Africa into Europe or whether it is. So these barn swallows are incredible. They're all over the world. Oh, there goes one. She's trying to go back to her nest, so I'm going to try to leave her alone. They're all over the world. They migrate north, whether they're over in the African region, they will spend winters down in Africa, Eastern Africa, and then migrate to Europe in the summer to nest. They do the same thing in this hemisphere. They go down into Chile, Argentina, and then they fly north up into North America, all the way to Canada in some cases. They'll make their nest here in the summer months in North America, for example, here at my house. And I was just seeing if one of them's back. It's incredible. And the things I read about the barn swallows is they can fly 600 miles a day. And I don't know if that's a 24-hour period. Those of you who are birders and know more about this than me, please put it in the comments because I don't know. But if that's a 24-hour period, they say they can fly up to 600 miles a day. And they had another term, I cannot remember the term, but they can turn part of their brain off and they can sleep while they're flying. So they actually can get rest. If they're in areas that are dangerous, too dangerous for them to land, or maybe it's an area where there's a lot of predators, they can just keep on flying and they sleep while they're flying. Absolutely incredible. Um, just the things that I was reading about them, they consume lots of different insects, which is perfect out here for Whirlwind to tie it back into our farm, which is absolutely incredible that they're consuming all these insects. And the last thing I'll tell you about them is they are federally protected. Here in the state of Texas, there's actually a level of protection, but you're not supposed to tear down, harass their nest in any way, and they're protected. And I will tell you, I always kind of looked at them as a pest because it's not the prettiest sight to have this mud put up on the side of your house. But they actually, right now is when they like to build because we're kind of here towards the end of spring. We've had lots of rain, and they can go out and get mud, and it looks like a little bigger than a BB, almost the size of a marble. They'll take these little globs of mud and start arranging it to build their nest. And that's how they build their nest. They'll use some straw and twigs and things to intertwine with the mud, but it's absolutely amazing how they do it. I just kind of am in awe of it. I think you want to look this up in your area. I think once the nesting is ended and once they've moved on, you can tear down the nest. I think it is legal to do that. I think in Texas they said it's fine. But they said in some cases they will come back to the same nest the following year. So if it's an area that doesn't bother you, certainly leave it there. On the house, it kind of looks ugly to have that mud stuck there. But that's the barn swallow. Absolutely amazing. Traveling 600 miles a day. They travel, one of the stats I read is they can travel in their migration up to 7,500 miles, 7,500 miles to make their migration north and then return. There's either other things I read out there they've adapted where some of them do reverse migration. They go south, then north, or north and south. I can't remember, but they do it in reverse. Just incredible. So that's the simple little barn swallow. When you see them fly, they're incredible flyers. And they do a lot of good as far as getting rid of insects. There you go. There's the barn swallow, probably more than you ever thought you'd know. And those of you who are birders, please put in the comments below what you know about them, because I think it's fascinating. Thanks again. We always appreciate you checking out our channel here at Whirlwind Family Farm. Blessings over you, your family, and your garden. Hope you get to see some barn swallows as well. We always have a video over here you can check out that'll take you further along in that gardening process. Blessings. Talk to you soon from Whirlwind Family Farm.